This video is going to arm you with the best Kamisato Ayato build possible. It's true. With some other runner-ups so you guys know exactly what you're getting into, and you can possibly save a lot of Primo Gems, resources, Mora, all of that stuff by using stuff you guys already have on your account. But before that, this video is brought to you by Amazon and the Amazon Appstore. It is the second anniversary for Final Fantasy Brave Exvius War of the Visions, and there is going to be a decent little bit of kickback if you can catch my drift here. Now, I've been War of the Vision since launch here, and here's the thing here. Not only is the Amazon App Store just a fantastic place to play all of your mobile games possible, because you can save up to 20% no matter what time of day it is, no matter what special celebrations are going on, but now you're gonna get a 5% back reward during the second anniversary of War of the Visions of Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, and this starts on March 23rd and ends on the 31st. You have right about a week there to get in there if you want this additional little bit of a benefit. It's sponsors like this that keep this channel being able to provide content like this for you, so make sure you go down in the description, check it out, and let me know what you think. So let's get into it. First thing we want to talk about here real quickly are the talents. So a lot of Ayato's damage comes exclusively from his elemental skill and his elemental burst, and it works very similarly to a character we already have seen before, the other Hydro Boy, Child here. So just like Child, when you activate Ayato's elemental skill, it's going to have its own attributes. You're not going to need to level up your normal attack because all the damage you're going to be doing is from leveling your elemental skill, because it has its own multipliers. Just like good old Child as well, Ayato's elemental burst does do a decent amount of damage, but it's not the most significant portion of what he does do. And while it is a little bit more than Child's burst does for Child, Ayato is mainly an E guy with a little bit of Q love as well. So let's get right into it with artifacts here. A big question on everyone's mind: what set should I be running? The new Echoes of Offering set? Can I run good old Heart of Depths? Can I go ahead and use my Gladiator set? Is that worthwhile still if it has decent substats? We're gonna touch on that in a minute, but what we need to do here first and foremost is no matter what one of those three sets you are running, it all comes down to the substats. So they're all gonna be very close together, but they're all gonna be built the same way. So we're gonna use an attack percent Sands, we're gonna be using a hydro damage goblet, and they're gonna be using a crit chance or crit damage main circlet there. You wanna retain at least like a 2-to-1 try to of crit rate to crit damage ratio. So 50 crit rate, 100 crit damage. Try to keep that as close as possible as you can. Aim for at least 55, 60 crit chance. And then, you know, if it's easier for you to go ahead and stack a bunch of crit damage afterwards, do that at your leisure. So what we're going to be doing here for substats as well, well, we're going to need one thing that's super important: 140% energy recharge. This allows you to be super fluid with your Ayato's elemental burst rotation, and will allow you to use around 2 of your elemental skill. That's going to be a 24-second cooldown between the 2 of them, and then you're also going to have a 20-second cooldown on that elemental burst. You want to have it active just in time to keep it active as long as possible, given that, you know, normal attack damage bonus up for him in your party. That's going to be something that you want to do, and it does do a reasonable amount of damage like we talked about beforehand. But as far as the rest of your substats goes, you're looking for crit chance, crit damage, and attack percent like every other DPS in the game. Keep that 2-to-1 crit chance to crit damage ratio as best as possible, and then pick up a little attack percent on the way. Now, super important, if you skip this part, you're probably gonna get a little bit lost here, but this is full disclosure, the math behind here, the methodology, if you will. This was based on a level 90 Ayato with a level 9 elemental skill and a level 9 elemental burst. Obviously, like we said before, you need 140% energy recharge, which will be affected by certain weapons. If they give you, like the Kageuchi, a little bit of energy recharge, you can drop that down. We'll note that there. And then, like we said before, 2 elemental skills, 1 elemental burst. It gives you a very solid way to keep track of how he's actually going to perform on the battlefield with these stats. Now, if you want a full absolute breakdown on all weapons versus each other, at least the best ones and the absolute worst ones, check out the previous video I did on the weapon tier list on this channel. We will touch on it a bit here, but this one is more about the build in its entirety. Weapons and artifact sets combined versus each other, those being Heart of Depths, Echoes of an Offering, and your lovely Gladiator set. And to make this super easy to follow on a small example for you guys here, we're not going to just be looking at damage numbers. You guys have to do the mathematical genius behind the scenes to compare them to yourselves. What I did do is break it down percentage wise here. We picked a weapon, and that is going to be base 100% damage. Then afterwards, the other weapons will be lower or higher than 100%, and it's going to make it super easy for you guys to follow along. So this one right here, 4-piece Echoes relative to an R1 Kageuchi here, which allows you to drop your energy recharge to about 130, 125. That is the 100% base here. Slightly weaker than that, you can see, is the Flute at 99.92, and then by far the two worst weapons, you should never use them on Ayato, are going to be absolutely the Sacrificial Sword and the Favonius Sword. You do not need that much energy recharge on him, so a lot of those things that those weapons do are absolutely dead weight for him, and Sacrificial Sword doesn't even reset because your E doesn't do damage when you activate it. However, the R5 version of the Kageuchi here is going to be better than the R1 because it gives you more energy back, and so you can go all the way down to 110% energy recharge in a build and replace them with crit chance, attack percent, or crit damage substats. And then following this one up here, you have access to the Black Sword, Lion's Roar, Black Cliff R1, Black Sword R5, Lion's Roar R5, and then the big three here, the new Haran, as well as Jade Cutter and Mist Splitter coming up, doing a lot of good stuff here with Echoes, and Haran is by far the best weapon to use with the Echo set. However, how do all the different weapons and sets match up together? So just like before, we're going to be pairing all three sets together, and we're going to have a baseline here, and that's going to be Haran in the Heart of Depth set. That is our base 100%. However, it's not the best setup for the Haran. The Haran's best setup is actually Echoes of an Offering at 105.9%. The second best setup that you could actually do in this two different artifact face-off here is going to be Jade Cutter, 100.8%. Slightly better than the Haran in Heart of Depths, but it is something that you guys could have access to on your accounts. You can see the rest of them here. Mist Splitter in Heart of Depths is 95. Mist Splitter in Echoes of an Offering is 93. And then Black Sword at R5 is slightly better in Heart of Depths than what it is in Echoes of an Offering. But what about everyone's favorite Gladiator set? Now, the Gladiator set is going to be very cool here. As you can see, the Haran is actually 101.5%, which is going to be second best setup for the Haran. This is because a little bit of 18% attack has a slightly higher weight in your build for the Haran, because the Haran has so much damage percent bonus up that the 18% attack weighs out the extra little damage bonus that the Heart of Depth set would actually give you. However, for the Jade Cutter and the Mist Splitter, the Mist Splitter is about the same. Jade Cutter is actually worse, and so is Black Cliff at the same time. Black Cliff suffers while Haran is doing well because the Black Cliff is, well, you've guessed it, a 4-star weapon, and thus the 18% attack doesn't give it a whole lot of additional power. Now, if you break it all down, you compare all of these sets together with all of these different weapons, you come to one conclusion. The Haran is the best weapon for Kamisato Ayato, but it's barely better than a lot of the other options that you have access to on your account already. Same thing with Echoes of an Offering. Echoes of an Offering really only does big stuff in conjunction with Haran on its own. So if you guys want to save a lot of Primo Gems and stuff, you can forego getting the Haran and forego farming up a brand new set of Echoes of the Offering, which is sometimes, it's probably going to be a nightmare. Let's be honest here. Dust off your Gladiator set, dust off your Heart of Depth set, maybe dust off some of your old weapons, and you're still going to be doing substantial damage with this character in Genshin Impact. However, if you want the best of the best, you're definitely going to want to farm up a new Echo set and get the Haran. And another thing that we need to know right now is that if you have better substats on a worse performing set, your better substatted set is actually going to do better. So if you're using, for example, you have the Jade Cutter, you want to use the Jade Cutter, and the Jade Cutter is a little bit worse, as you saw here on the Gladiator set. If your Gladiator set has better substats by a lot than your Heart of Depth set is, you're going to get substantially more damage from dusting off those old Gladiator pieces and throw them on your Ayato, saving you even more time and Primo Gems in the process. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one.